Cinematic imagery in live sports is one of the more exciting trends that we've certainly seen over the last few years in live sports. So that's why we're really excited to welcome a new sponsor to the SVG family today. The SVG New Sponsor Spotlight takes a look at AbelCine. Hi, everyone. I'm Brad Acosta, Director of Digital at the Sports Video Group. Very pleased to be joined by Tom Diggs. He's a rental business manager for AbelCine. They are now a part of the SVG family, and we're excited to talk to him about some of the things that he and the company are seeing in that very trend that we're talking about, cinema style shots making their way into live sports in an exciting way. Tom, thanks for taking the time. Great to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
So tell us all about Able Cine. I know it could be obvious to be like, oh, it's a rental house, but you guys do so much more. How do you feel the company is finding itself an avenue, particularly into live sports right now?
Yeah, so we have about 3 decades of experience in the traditional narrative side of the industry. So
Hmm.
cinema cameras for traditional capture, like commercial production, feature films, television shows. But I think in the co post-COVID landscape, and with us having roots in sales, rental, service, integration, we have all these different departments that just kind of blended themselves really well to coming together in more of a consultative role. So right now we find ourselves as sort of cinema integrators,
Hmm.
where we have a lot of clients that are coming to us curious about cinema or raising the bar for their capture, and we're sort of helping them implement those tools into their current workflows and infrastructures.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see you guys in that position of what I don't know if you want to call it evangelizing or education, but the
Mhm.
idea of having cinema style imagery in sports broadcast at all, forget the live side, is a relatively young concept. So there's probably tons of questions that are out there. So in your time doing some of this stuff, maybe what are some of the I don't know if you want to name specific products or even just some of the services that you guys offer. How are you finding that AbelCine specifically is really addressing this unique growth area for sports video?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, and I mean, this kind of applies to live broadcast in general, but
Hmm.
about 5, 6 years ago, we started getting really early with fiber systems that you could attach agnostically to the back of any cinema camera and implement them into a fiber chain. So we were doing that on some Broadway pro shots, and since then, we've done them on comedy specials, and we've been using them in larger and larger concerts. So if anyone caught the Taylor Swift Eras tour, or anything of that nature. I think there was a Casey Musgraves broadcast recently on Amazon, and those are using cinema cameras and a fiber system like a multi-dyne, and you run one fiber line all the way back to your truck or control room. So we got in that pretty early, about 5 or 6 years ago, and since then we've just been developing our fly packs. And the demand for cinematic cameras has kind of come from those streaming providers.
Hmm.
So we've seen that already in comedy and in concerts. And as you know, I know that it's kind of been competitive with sports broadcast rights, especially with streaming providers. So I think that we think that that trend is kind of going to follow suit in the sports world as well. So you could have potentially an Alexa in a specialty position, or Sony Venice in a specialty position, and run the camera all the way back to the control room, shade it, control iris, do everything you can with one of the broadcast cameras, but with a much different quality or look to it.
Cool. Let's quickly scrape a case study or two. What's a couple circumstances maybe where you have worked with sports clients and really helped them kind of integrate some of this stuff?
Yeah, so maybe about a year ago at this point, or a little longer, we were contacted by NBC Sports. They reached out to us because there were a lot of decision makers that were kind of trying to collect information about what cameras they should travel with to the Olympic Games. So they started asking our sales department and kicking the tires a little bit, but I think we all sort of came together and we have a great relationship with NBC Sports. And we just kind of came up with this idea that we would host them and all of their key creative decision makers and their shooters at Able in New York. And we had every camera and lens combination under the sun. And for about 3 days, they did tests with those cameras, and we had representatives from all of those major manufacturers in-house answering technical questions. So it was a little bit more than a shootout. I think that any service provider could have probably pulled together a decent amount of those cameras, but it was sort of the way that we conducted it, where we were able to have our in-house technical experts. We sort of had all hands on deck, and we were able to show them some things and let them make some pretty, you know, pretty important decisions during that test.
So as you look ahead to 2025, knowing that you guys, one of the things you do is offer consultation, but if you were to look ahead to 2025, in what ways do you foresee or hope to see live sports continue to integrate cinema style cameras, and what maybe should we be keeping an eye on going forward, do you think?
Yeah, I hope that we can just sort of demystify cinema cameras in the
Hmm.
broadcast world a little bit more. I know that it's sports, and you only get one take at anything. And so it's very difficult to trust a new tool.
Hmm.
So, as evangelists, as you put it earlier, we're really trying to get more cameras in the hands of sports shooters and get them a little bit more comfortable. I mean, the worlds are coming together everywhere else. So it's just logical that it will probably unfold this way in sports. But we just want, we want to be here to answer questions and make people as comfortable as possible with the tools. Ari, for example, has come out with the Alexa 35 Live, and they've really been pushing the product in Europe, and we've been helping them a little bit sort of integrate and get that camera in the hands of some key creatives. So we just think that more manufacturers are going to wake up and see that this is a need, and then start tailor making some products that would lend itself a little bit better to being familiar in the hands of a sports operator.
Now, when it comes to live sports production workflows, this is one of the more fun topics to talk about as we continue to innovate on the live sports front. So we're thrilled to be able to have AbelCine as part of the SVG family again. We're excited to have you guys aboard. We're really excited to see how you continue to influence the industry going forward. So Tom, thanks so much for taking the time today. We hope to see you at some events down the road soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, he's Tom Diggs. He's rental business manager for AbelCine. You can learn more about them by visiting their website at abelcine.com. And for more videos, including more SVG new sponsor spotlights, you can head over to our website at sportsvideo.org. We'll see you next time.